Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm an examiner to two leading boards and I mark GCSE and A-level papers every year. So according to my experience, there are some predicted questions which I've gathered for 2023. Now, I know many of you might be very stressed thinking about, oh, my exam is just 1 month after, so how I'm going to study, how I'm going to revise. Now, panic is not going to lead you anywhere. So the thing is, at this hour, the most important thing is look for the predicted topics, look for the predicted questions, because those are the questions which are going to help you in going for a directional studies. Now, I have gathered some questions. So let's look into some of the questions, directly jump into without wasting much time. So whether you have studied consistently or not consistently, the last moment studies help you quite a lot. So looking at all those, if you go through some of the predicted questions, some of the predicted topics, it's going to be very helpful, at least to get on to easily 6 or 7 grades. But if you are a candidate who's already touching grade 9 or grade 8, I'm going to make some videos on more challenging questions, which can definitely push you to a higher grade 9. But if you're a person who has not studied consistently and are looking to get somewhat reasonable grades, these predicted questions are definitely going to help you to get on to grade 6 or 7 easily. So every day I'm going to make a 10 to 15 minutes video covering few questions so that you can go through those questions, absorb those questions, keep them in your mind, revise over and over again by watching those videos, so that when you open the paper, you can see those questions directly coming into the paper. Numbers might change, but the topics and the style of the questions might be very similar. Edexcel has got a pattern, very similar pattern, because I mark papers, so I know the kind of patterns what Edexcel maintain. If you familiarize yourself, it won't be that difficult. Now you might be thinking, why I cannot solve the challenging question. Now let me just explain very quickly. Any challenging question in a GCSE paper is for maximum 5 marks. Now imagine if you practice those challenging questions and still if you're unable to do that most challenging question in the GCSE paper, you're bound to lose 5 marks. Whereas on the other hand side, if you learn the topics which are very predictable or the questions which are predictable and they are easy to handle, 2 questions can easily fetch you 5 marks. So if you look at the proportion of those questions which are very straightforward are more in number compared to the challenging ones. But having said that, I didn't say you should not practice challenging question. Yes, if you have time, you should. Right, so let's go on to the first predictable question. I feel there will be a question on lowest common multiple or highest common factor. I'm not going to go into much of detail what is lowest common multiple or highest common factor. I hope most of you might be aware of it. Now, there are various methods which students use and the teacher teaches in school, but the easiest method which I feel should be applicable to all of you will be to make first prime factor tree. So whether he's asking LCM or HCF, make prime factor tree. So let's make a prime factor tree for 20. So the smallest prime number which can divide 20 is 2. So 20 divided by 2 gives me 10. 10 can again be divided by 2, it gives me 5. Same way, I'm going to make a prime factor tree for 35. 35, the smallest prime number which can divide 35 is 5. So 35 divided by 5 gives me 7. And thereafter, whether he's asking LCM or HCF, the process stays the same. After making prime factor tree, you're going to make a Venn diagram. Now, all of you are aware, in a Venn diagram, we'll put the common ones in the middle. So let's see what's common in both the trees. Here you got 2, 2, 5, and here you got 5 and 7. So you got 2, 2, 5, and here in this one tree, you got 5 and 7. So what's common in both is number 5. So you put number 5 over here. And in 20, let's see what is left out. 2 2s are left out, so I'm going to fill these 2 2s here. In 35, what is left out is one of the 7. Now, HCF is the middle one. Just remember, HCF is whatever comes in the middle, that becomes the HCF. If there are more than one number in the middle, you times both the numbers. So here there's just one number. So HCF over here is 5. LCM is you times everything in the Venn diagram. So let's see, what do we times? So we times 2 times 2. I'll write 2 times 2. Then there's a 5. Then there's a 7. So if I times it out, You can see 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 5 is 20, 20 times 7 is 140, so LCM is 140. Right. So now, whether he asks LCM or HCF depends on what they are going to ask, but there will definitely be a question on LCM and HCF, and this is how you can utilize the information given in the question. Now, if I look at the marks, you can see very easily you can earn 2 marks just by doing a little bit of calculation. So whether you have practiced in 3 years or not, doesn't matter. At the last moment also, you can touch base on these questions. So in these revision exercises, I'm going to cover the questions which are most predictable and easy to learn, so that you can get on to easily to a reasonable 6 or 7 grade. Now let's have a look at the next question. Right, here we go. Now, the moment you look at the question, even without reading, you can see it's a probability table question. Now, in a probability table question, if you have not seen this question before, but I guess many of you would have seen, but if you have not seen it before, remember the bottom row, which is of probability, always adds up to 1. So that means whatever is the probability for black, plus the probability for white, plus the probability for yellow, all 3 adds up to 1. So let's see what information is given in the question. Now you can see these first 2 sentences are by default given, even if you skip them, but I'll not recommend to skip. You do not run short of time in GCSE if you handle the questions properly. So you can skim through these lines. There are only black disk, white disk, and yellow. You can see black, white, and yellow. So black, white, and yellow. Now he said the table shows the probability of picking at random the black disk. Now he said the probability of picking a white disk is twice the probability of picking a yellow disk. That means this portion is double than this portion. So probability of picking white is double than the probability of picking yellow. So as I said, the bottom row adds up to 1. So if I do 1, take away 0.55, which gives me 0.45. So the total of white and yellow is 0.45. And this 0.45, you can see, is being divided in the ratio 2:1. So 0.45 is divided further in the ratio 2:1. So you might have seen sharing of ratios. How do we divide? Into 2:1, 2 portions of white and 1 portion of yellow. So you can make 2 portions of white and 1 portion of yellow. So this one is white, 2 portions of white, 1 portion of yellow. So how many total portions did I make? Total portions are 3. How come? 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. So total there are 3 portions. So how much is each portion for? So we can do 0.45 divided by 3, which gives me 0.15. Let's say you face problem in dividing 0.45 by 3. You can imagine, let's say if you have 45p and you're giving equally to 3 of your friends. So 45 you can divide by 3 and then think about it. How much does it make? So 15p. So you're giving each of the friends 15p, 15p, 15p. Yeah. So if you have a look, so each portion is 0.15. So this is 0.15. This is 0.15 and this is also 0.15. So in total, white is 15p plus 15p is 30p. So you can say 0.3. And this is 0.5. So go back and put in the question. So the final answer is white is equal to 0.30 and yellow is equal to 0.15. Right. So this is a question which we call it as a question on probability table. Very, very straightforward question. Again, I repeat, all that you have to do is the bottom row always adds up to 1. So if any of the missing blank is there, you can add the remaining and take away from 1. But if there's some kind of proportion given, still you'll start the question by taking away 1, the probability which is already given. So the remaining is the probability of the remaining boxes. And then in this question, because it was divided in the ratio, so you can look into that sharing of ratios. Right, so let's have a look at another style of question, which is again very, very predictable, is finding nth term of the sequence. Now, how do we find nth term? You might have seen in the previous classes, maybe year 10 or year 9. But if you have not seen, pretty straightforward question, nothing much to think about. All that you have to see is what is the jump in the sequence, whether it's going up or is it going down. Now, when I look at the question from 5 to 13, can you see it's going +8? 13 to 21, again it's going plus 8. 21 to 29, again going it's plus 8. So you can see the sequence is increasing by plus 8. So quickly you can go and write 8n over here. Whatever is the jump times n. So in order to establish nth term of the sequence, whatever is the jump times it by n. Now jump not necessarily is to go up, it can go down as well. So but if it is going up in 8, I've written 8n. Then how do I establish what number do I write next to 8n? Now if I go backwards, so it'll be 8 spaces before. So 8 spaces before 5 will give me -3. So whatever this number comes out over here, just copy this number next to it. So this becomes my nth term of the sequence. Let's say the sequence is going down or up, whichever way you want to. This one was going up. Let's say the sequence is going down this time. So if the sequence goes down like that, so let's say you start from 5, 3, 1, -1, -3, and so on. So let's see what's the jump. So 5 to 3 is going -2. 3 to 1, it's again going -2. 1 to -1, -2. -1 to -3 is again -2. So if I have to establish a term for this, whatever is the jump, I'll write n next to it. And how do I establish what number do I write over here? So go 2 spaces this side. So if it's going down in 2, the one before should go up in 2. So 5 plus 2 more will be 7. You can see from 7, if I take away 2, I get 5. So this number will come over here. So the answer will be -2n plus 7, and that becomes your nth term of the sequence. Right, so let's have a look of another style of question. Now, algebra I'm going to cover later. In another video, we'll put together all the easier questions on algebra, which are very, very likely to be there in the paper. Now, let's see this one. The moment you look at the question, you might be wondering, oh, I've seen this question. So yes, you would have seen this question. It's a question on standard form. Now, standard form, most of the time, it makes a part of paper 1, because paper 1 is a non-calculator paper, and they expect standard form to be solved without a calculator, because you can see if it's a common sense. If it's given in a calculator paper, anyone can feed the numbers in calculator and get the answer. That's not what the aim of this question is. Right, so any number which is of this form, a times 10 to the power anything over here, is called a number in standard form, where this number should be something like, I'm not going to go in detail, should be something like 2.3, 3.5, 4.2, like that. Means there should be a decimal after one digit, something like that this number should look like. So he said, write this number as an ordinary number. Now, if I have 4.72, I'm timesing by 10 to the power 6. That means I'm timesing by 6 zeros. So what happens is, whenever you times by zeros, the decimal goes right. How many spaces? 6 spaces. So I'm going to go right 6 spaces. 1, 2, third number is not there. So I'm going to put 3, 4, 5, and 6, and it will follow over here. So my answer will be 4, 7, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So that's an ordinary number. That's the ordinary form of this. Let's say if I have to change to standard form, I said I have to bring as 10 to the power something. So, and this number should be something like 2.3, 3.5. So if I have a look at over here, I do not have a decimal between 2 and 3. So I need to shift the decimal between 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3 spaces it will shift. So answer will be 2.3 times, because it shifted 3 spaces this side. So it will be -3 spaces, right? It shifted. So it will be -3. Right, last one I'm going to leave off because it's a one-off question. Not necessarily it is going to be there. Yeah, but because it's a question on timesing, so you can do 3 times 10 to the power 2. He said power is 3. So that means this is going to get repeated 3 times. 10 to the power 2 times 3 times 10 to the power 2. Now, whenever I'm timesing numbers in standard form, I can times number part, and I can times 10 tens part. So this is going to be 3 times 3 times 3. as it is, and this is going to be 10 to the power 2 times 10 to the power 2 times 10 to the power 2. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, and 10 to the power 2 lots plus another 2 lots, 4 plus another 2 lots, total makes 6 lots. But this is not in standard form because I need the decimal in between 2 and 7 to make it a standard form, as I explained over here. So if you bring the decimal this side, 2.7 times 10 to the power 7. Because you're dividing by 10, so you're dividing here by 10, so you'll times this by 10 more, so it will go up by 1 more unit. But let's say if you are unable to write the last points, you'll just lose 1 mark. So do not worry too much about it. Let's have a look at another style of question. I'm going to cover different ones which are more important, likely to come. Now, numbers. This video is more about numbers. I'm focusing mostly on numbers. There can be a question on sharing of ratios. Now, you can see there's a 60 pound. He's asking me to share on this. So this topic is sharing of ratios. Sharing of ratios. Let's say some of you might be aware of it. Those who are not aware of it, it's a very, very straightforward way of solving it. 60 pound, I need to share in the ratio 3:2:5. So if I have to share 60 pound in the ratio 3:2:5, just imagine you are sharing into, you can make 3 boxes. Then you have 2 boxes. Yeah, and then you are sharing into 5 boxes more. So 3, 4, and 5. Right, so total how many boxes there are? So you'll do 3 plus 2 plus 5, which is 10 boxes. How much is each box for? So 60 divided by 10 is equal to 6. So each box is for 666. You can see each box is for 666. So the first one gets 6 lots of 6. So I'll do 6 times 3, which is 18. Second one gets 2 boxes of 6. First one got 3 boxes of 6, so 18. Second one got 2 boxes of 6, so 12. Third one got 5 boxes of 6, so 6 times 5, which is 30. So this is how we shared. Now he said Tim, Jason, and Peter. So he's asking just for Jason. He's not asking for Tim. So this was Tim, this was Jason, this is Peter. But because he's asking only for Jason, so my final answer will be 12. Make sure you write the final answer and underline because 1 mark is for answer. So very, very important that you take care of this. Okay. Right, let's see. Now he's talking about Dave is 4 years older than Colin. Ruth is 3 times as old as Dave. Total of their ages is 56. So let's write the 3 people whom he's talking about, Dave, Ruth, and Colin. Now he said Ruth is 3 times as old as Dave, but Dave is 4 years older than Colin. So when you get this kind of question, it's easier to use a little bit of algebra working out. It's just going to help you to get onto the question easily. So now he said Dave is 4 years older than Colin, but Colin is 3 times older than Dave. So isn't it sensible that I take Colin as one portion? Yeah, I can take Colin as one portion. Dave is 4 years older. So I can say, let's say the Colin is X. If Colin is X, Ruth is 3 times, he said, Dave is 4 years older than Colin, but Ruth is 3 times older than Dave. Or if I call Colin as X, I can call Dave as 4 years older. So I can say X plus 4. Dave is X plus 4. Because whatever Colin is, if Colin is X, Dave is X plus 4, 4 years older. Now, what is the relationship between Ruth is 3 times as old as Dave? So whatever is the age of Dave, Ruth is 3 times older. So that means 3 times X plus 4. And now he said all together their ages. So that means I'm going to add them and put it equal to 56. So let's repeat this question. This might look very confusing. So the first thing I did is I labeled Dave, Ruth, and Colin. Whenever you get a question where the age has been compared one to other, you can call one of the ages as X. So let's say if I called Colin as X, Dave is 4 years older. So Dave become 4x plus 4. But Ruth is 3 times as old as Dave. So whatever is Dave, Ruth will be 3 times that. And altogether the age is 56. So now I can solve this equation. This x plus 4 stays as it is. 3 will get times to each one of them. So that's going to be plus 3x plus 12. And this is plus x as it is equal to 56. Now, I agree this question could have been done without algebra, but I just thought of doing with algebra this one. And the reason why I did this with numbers, because I feel that this question, some of the student will definitely try without algebra. But I'm just showing you a bit easier way using algebra. If some of you want to do this way, it'll be very, very comfortable. So collect all the x's together. So x plus 3x plus x. So total 5x, because x plus 3x is 4x plus 1 more x is 5x. 4 plus 12 is 16, so plus 16 is equal to 56. So this is going to be 5x is equal to 56, take away 16. So which gives me, I'm just going to do it over here. So this is going to give you 5x is equal to 40. So x is equal to 8. So the question is, what is Ruth's age? Which one is Ruth? Ruth is this middle one. So go back and put the value of x back in over here. So the Ruth's age will be 3 bracket 8 plus 4. So 8 plus 4 is 12. 12 times 3 is 36. So Ruth is 36. I know this question, some of you might have found it a bit tricky because of the algebra part, but if you practice, put your head around deciding about one of the age as x and then relating the other ages in terms of x, the question will be extremely easy. Even though I predict this question, but still I'll say this is less probable because it has come up in different styles many years. So, but still, it's good to practice this kind of a question just to get onto a step of forming a question. Let's see one more. Just took out another kind of question for you, not this one. And there was another one which, right. Right. Now let's have a look. The volume of solid cube is this. What is the total surface area of the cube? Now, if let's say the volume of cube is given, now let's see how a cube looks like. Now that's a cube. Now, if you have a look, volume of cube, if you know length, width, and height, you know volume of cube formula is L times L times L. So you can work out as L cube. This volume L cube or L times L times L is given as 125. So if I times L 3 times, I should get 105. So the value of one of the L will be 5. So that's the one of the length. So this can be 5, 5, 5, because you can see 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. But is he asking something the length? No, he's asking total surface area. So surface area of a cube, how do we work out? If I have to find surface area of a cube, I can find area of one of the face. And if you look at one of the face, it's a square. So I will find area of one of the face, which is 5 times 5, which is area of the square. And how many such faces are there? You can see 1, 2, 3, 4 down, 5, and 6. So total 6 faces are there. So you find the area of one of the face, which is area of square, and times it by the total number of faces, 6. So this is 25 times 6, which is 150. And you can write the unit centimeter square, but do not worry about the unit. Even if you missed out, it should be totally fine. Right. So as I said, do not panic. Even if it's the 1 month left to the exam, that's more than enough. As per my experience, I've been teaching in more than 25 years. I've been an examiner to 2 leading boards. So I know exactly how to pull up the grades at the last moment. And so I have taught students who have pulled up the grade in last 10 to 12 days and got onto their predicted grade, jumping from quite grade 5 to grade 8 easily. But having said that, there's no promise, but only thing is the predictable paper is very, very important, looking at the predictable question, and that's how you can improve even in last 10 to 20 days. So we still have 1 month. Have faith, keep working hard every day. I'll load videos covering 10 to 12 questions for 10 to 15 minutes. I don't want to overburden, so I'm not making long videos for 1 hour, 2 hour. Doesn't make any sense. Best is to do a snapshot of different styles of question which are more predictable. And that's what is something going to help you. Thank you guys. See you tomorrow with more questions. And that's where we'll carry on from. Take care. Have a lovely, lovely evening.